What's up? What's up? Welcome into the Orange Zone podcast. We're talking Syracuse women's hoops. A reminder, you can find every episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you want to listen. You can also find every episode on our Orange Zone YouTube page. What's up from the Skycam if you're watching? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you're thinking. We're loving the reaction we've been getting from the fan base. So keep it coming. Keep it churning because we've had nothing but content to talk about with this team because not only are they ranked, but finally, they're not just ranked number 25. They're number 22 in the AP poll this week. Syracuse women's hoops. There we go. There we go. Tommy Sladek, Samantha Croston. We also have Rachel Culver on the producer mic. And we have a team that is 16-2, Sam.
Isn't that just SU's best start since joining the ACC?
Ooh, boy.
5th straight win, off to its best start since the 2012-13 season.
With a second-year head coach.
It's moving to historic. It's moving to what is this going to be? And it's funny because remember in the beginning of the year, we would have conversations like, how far can this team go? Could they sneak into the NCAA tournament? And I don't even feel like that's the narrative necessarily anymore. Like, I would place a bet right now that they'll be in it.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
I think we could have done
I feel confident placing that bet. I could have placed that bet probably 2 weeks ago and been confident.
And now it's something bigger. It's something bigger than that.
Because I feel like one of the things that's changed, at least in my eyes, over the last maybe 2 weeks or so, a lot of people in Syracuse recognize that this was a good team. But now, nationally, people are seeing it. They're talking about them a lot on the ACC network, talking about them in the AP polls, seeing Deasia Fair and everything that she's capable of. And something about Fair hitting that 3,000-point mark, probably everything about that, also helped, I think, to propel Syracuse into the national conversation in its own right. Not
to mention becoming back-to-back games from down 19 and 18 points to win it. Like that was icing on the cake. Poetry was talking. Lawrence Moten was talking about it to us last week, where he was like, "Yeah, when I broke the Big East record, we had like a loss away at Seton Hall. That's a bad feeling. That's not what you want." So for her to do it at home was pretty special. But most recently, again, 25th consecutive win over Pitt for starters is one of the weirder stats I think I've ever heard, because it's not like for 25 years Syracuse is always the better team. I don't think, especially considering just a few years ago you had a down year between coaches. You had a first-year coach last year. They just always beat Pitt.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, is this a team they would play more than once during the season?
Since ACC, it's been twice a year, I believe.
Okay, so we're still talking, though, in that case, like maybe, 13 years or so of just straight dominance?
Like, whatever.
Absolutely
keep it going.
Absurd. And impressive. I mean, again, improving to 16-2, 6-1 at this point, which is an amazing record, and undefeated at home, which I think
also
is another
big.
very important thing to point out. Until Syracuse men's basketball's loss just recently against Florida State, they were actually undefeated at home too. And I saw on Rachel Culver's little notes that Syracuse was actually the last team in general to do that, right, Rachel?
They were before Syracuse had lost last night or this Tuesday to Florida State. They were the last two teams, men and women, across the country that were undefeated at home.
Rachel, can you show the fans your face?
Oh,
the
I
your face
suppose.
For the ones watching on YouTube? That's Rachel. She's hiding behind the producer set. Rach, what do you – I mean, are they meeting your standards for what you expected, or what is your new ceiling for this team, I guess I should say? And give it to me in a seed of the tournament. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of season left, believe me. But I have a lot of faith that they're making it to the dance this year. What is the ceiling for their seed?
Ceiling, I think.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm gonna say like 3.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna put it.
I would say I foresee them easily. Well, let's be careful. I foresee them finding a way to be in that top echelon, the top 6.
Yes.
But I think 3 feels right. I don't know. How do you feel?
I'm around the same thing. I think 3 or 4. And if you do just kind of some simple math and with a top 25 by the end of the season, if that's kind of matching up with the committee, right? If they get into the top 15, that should be around a 4 seed probably. And that's something I absolutely think they can do. Because to be honest, the fact that heading into that this past Sunday, a team that was beating a Pitt, finishes up a game against Pitt and has a record that's 16-2 and 6-1 in the ACC in women's college basketball was unranked. That's a little weird,
Well, yeah.
And so I'm just happy that they not only got in, but that it wasn't just a okay, well, they snuck in at 25, and if they lose, they're back out. To me, 22 feels a little bit more like they're sitting on solid ground.
And I think this is worth saying for anyone who's maybe just getting into women's college sports, women's college basketball. ACC means two very different things in this current time for women's college basketball and men's college basketball. So although we're kind of, if you're following Syracuse as well, we're kind of seeing those top teams really dominate that league. This is a league in the women's side of the sport that is really, really good.
An absolute gauntlet. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned this, but the comebacks, the team comebacks, is also something that needs to be talked about. The fact that they are coming back from these insane deficits, it shows a lot about what this team is capable of. And to pull a page out of Lawrence Moten's book, because I feel like he talks about this a lot too, when you have done that once and you prove it to yourself that you can do that, it gives you confidence for the rest of the season, because you know in your head and you can feel more comfortable saying, we can come back from this because we've come back from it before. I can do it now because I've done it in the past. It inspires confidence, and I think it's important that they were able to prove that to themselves. Not to mention, one of those comebacks was the 3,000 point. It was just, that was just an awesome game.
Nice little icing on the cake. And Deasia Fair, speaking of, moves up to 10th all-time on the NCAA Division I scoring list. She had 22 points, 6 assists, 4 steals against Pitt. And Georgia Woolley really, I think, doing what we expected her to be doing, which is filling that role as someone else that can be getting to 20 points. There's even the same game that Fair does. So that was her fourth 20-point game. Syracuse used an 11-0 run to take a 23-20 lead in the second quarter and never looked back. So up next, you mentioned the gauntlet. I see gauntlet on our paper right here. 3 straight games versus AP top 25 teams. And this team last year before that, I'm probably like, oh boy, here we go. Maybe they can get one. I have no reason to think that they can't go 3-0.
Now you view this as an opportunity.
An opportunity. There's no fear.
Excitement.
As a fan. It's excitement to prove this country in this women's basketball, world, that this team is not only supposed to be in the top 25, but that they can keep rising. And it starts against a rematch, which I love, against number 15 Notre Dame, who really has gone back to right where they were when Syracuse upset them. As I believe they were 13th in the country, if I'm not mistaken, Rachel.
Around there, yeah. I would say.
Yeah, so they played on New Year's Eve, and so they're heading to South Bend Thursday night. And, yeah, that was a Deasia Fair, Alyssa Latham breakout game in that one. They combined for 48.
Amazing. And then even looking ahead, number 19 Virginia Tech Hokies ending it off with number 18 Louisville next Thursday, February 1st. None of those games are easy, but they're all opportunities to prove a point, like you said, to the world, to the country. And if I'm Coach FLJ, that's really what I'd be telling my players is like this is something to be excited about. This is something to look forward to. And at the end of the day, success or experience, right? They want to keep on piling on wins. But I just think it's important for a team like this, who's in the national conversation, who's in the mix, to be going up against good competition, especially right now.
Right. Big time. These next 3, what's a record that you feel comfortable with?
I'm going to go 2-1.
Mm-hmm. I think that's my mark too.
I think 3-0 is absolutely possible. I think 2-1 is more than realistic. I really do. Rachel.
For me, I would agree with the 2-1. I'm excited about the Notre Dame game. I think it's great for the storyline of this team to kind of have achieved success coming right off of that upset win and kind of keep finding those wins to add to the resume, but it does scare me. It scares me a little bit just because they've seen this team. Notre Dame knows what they brought last time, and I think coming off of a hot streak here, I think this is something that there's a little worry associated, but that's just me. What do you guys think?
I mean, worst case scenario is they go 0-3. And the funny thing is you're losing to 3 straight ranked teams, so it's not out of the question, and it wouldn't be the end of the world.
I don't think they will, though. I don't see that.
Neither do I. Even 1-2 is, I think, really kind of the one where you'd almost be even a little bit bummed about that. If the Syracuse men's team was playing 3 straight ranked opponents right now, going 1-2 would probably be the goal. But with this team, it's just different because I think they belong there. And these are teams, again, that are ranked 19, 18, and 15. They're all right there and just a little bit ahead of Syracuse. So that's why I think 2-1 is more than realistic. And heck yeah, 3-0 is possible.
I would have to say I agree with that because it does. It brings up the question of, like, how different in skill level is a team that's ranked 18 versus 22. I really don't think it's much. You know what I mean? I think all of those are very much pick-em games to an extent.
And it's interesting what you say about skill level because a couple weeks ago I talked to someone familiar with the voting process in the AP, and from what I've gathered, this is very much like a lot of what these rankings are based off is strength of schedule. It's a huge, huge reason that kind of differentiates between, especially that middle of the road kind of team. Not that they're middle of the road if they're ranked in the top 25, but kind of the teens. And I agree with you, Sam. I think skill level is all there, and I think they all bring what they need to bring to the table to be in that top 25. It's just a matter of who they faced and when they faced them so far this year.
And for the analytics nerds out there, I believe in college basketball they go with, instead of SOS for strength of schedule, which makes sense, I think they go SOR. If not, am I right on that? Strength of record.
Yeah.
Which I thought about. I'm like, why isn't it SOS? I'm like, I guess that has a weird connotation. You want to switch up the abbreviation.
Yeah, that is a little bit odd. But
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully
fair
you're
enough.
never on an island having to put an SOS out there.
Yeah, I have to be honest. Not that this really matters, but if I had to, like, put money on somebody to be able to get off an island safely on their own.
Is it you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was about to say I would absolutely not bet on me.
Got it.
I don't have the right skills for that. I'm first of all afraid of bugs, so immediately KO'd. And I'm just not, I would need background knowledge. I don't know how to build a fire from scratch, or
And she
you know
would
what I mean?
also lose something. She would probably have nothing on the island, but she'd find a way to lose something.
She'd actually put out an email to our entire station saying,
I was insulting
anyone-
me. That does not give you the right
She
to.
puts it out to the island of one. She's like, who took my coffee mug?
Where is my belt? For anybody who doesn't know, I'm a frequent loser of things. I am the biggest loser in CMY Central.
And she has no hesitation to just do the all company wide email.
It's no shame.
It's no shame.
I'm shameless.
And I respect it. And something is still missing right now. And I would not be surprised if a follow-up email is coming this week. I'll let you guys know next week when we have the pod again. But thinking about you. Hopefully you find it.
Thank you. I got a new one.
I'm sending good energy.
So we're closing that up.
Yeah. Oh wow. That's good. Closure.
Yeah. Once we either find it, or once there's a new one, we just close up shop, move on to the next thing.
5 stages of grief, baby.
That's right.
That's how we do it. All right. Rachel Culver, Samantha Croston. I'm Tommy Sladek. This is the Orange Zone Podcast. Reminder, every episode coming out weekly. This one will be coming out late Wednesday. We'd like to switch things up depending on what the schedule is with basketball, so bear with us. Sorry, it's a little bit out of order and not exactly to a pristine schedule, but we're just doing this to bring you guys the best content possible. So, all right. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Peace. We're out.